Oisín Reynolds for the final bell. Today I'm here in Shelton Abbey Open Centre in County Wicklow with Mick Conlan. Mick, how are you?
Oh, good, Oisín. Good to get down and see all the boys and chat away with them. It's a great experience.
No, you're freshly retired now. You're saying it's your first kind of speaking gig. How are you getting on? Obviously, keeping busy. I know you're playing a lot of golf, obviously, which you say more than usual.
Yeah, I'm playing every day. Every day I can get out, I'll play. But listen, retirement's going nice. I don't mind that. I'm happy to be retired.
And you're here promoting the Boxing Free initiative, obviously, brilliant cause, brilliant programme. How important do you feel it is kind of for people to have this outlet and such a brilliant programme available to them?
I think it's very important. Boxing's saved many lives, especially with people from working class communities who could have went down the wrong route, like myself. I probably could have went down the wrong route, but thankfully with boxing, I didn't. And then obviously, I know a lot of people, friends now, who were involved in an awful lot of crime growing up and drinking, drugs, and boxing. They probably get into it later than I did, but it saved them. So I think it's very important to have it in the jails here because the boys get to kind of release a lot of stress. Speak to friends, make friends, and speak to friends in these sessions. And obviously, listen, the mind is a very powerful place, but it can be a very destructive place. And when you have somewhere, for me, boxing was always my safe place. When you have somewhere which becomes like a safe place while you're inside, is very important.
And I'm going to kind of touch on your last fight now. Obviously, not the way you wanted to, but it was kind of a shock. Nobody knew you were going to retire. Say yourself, you didn't know. I know you'd always said you were going to give the world title one last crack. But when you were in the ring, was it kind of a shock you didn't get the arm race? Because a lot of people thought you were the better fighter on the night, and especially when the last bell went and Walsh going around kind of celebrating, even the commentators were like, we don't know what he's celebrating here for, and then the results get read out. What was that kind of, in the moment, what was the first set of emotions like?
The first set of emotions was, that's it, I'm done. I thought I won the fight, but it wasn't a vintage performance from me. It was a performance where I went, yeah, that's it. There's no point to continuing this because boxing is a dangerous sport and you can get seriously injured in boxing. And I knew that if I'm not the best me, I'm not going to reach that goal. So I always says when I did come back that the next loss I would call it a day. So I didn't expect it to be them, but when it happened, it was like, okay, that's it.
And now you've got a lot of time, but you're still involved in the boxing with the management. Obviously, Janae Boston, he's back in the winning column now.
Yeah.
What would you kind of like to see the path, do you think, back out again this year and then start challenging again, maybe British title next year?
Yeah, listen, I want to have Janae fighting in August time and then hopefully again December time and possibly August time will possibly be for like an international title and then December probably the English title and then the following year for the British. Janae is adamant that he wants the third fight with Bilal Fawaz and my goal is to try and make that happen eventually and I'm just getting him in the right way, making sure he has the right fights at the right times before he jumps back into the ring with a Bilal because he was probably in too soon for that stage of his career when he had that fight initially. But he's grown so much and developed so much that now by the time it comes around he'll be ready.
And another fighter of yours I have to touch on, Kevin Cronin, obviously Irish champion now. He was scheduled to fight in the Athlone card, I think, and that's fallen through. What do you think kind of the timeline's looking like for him now? Obviously with the title it kind of gives you a bit more, you bring a bit more to the table.
Yeah, listen, we're working on stuff with Kevin. I'm trying to get him hopefully on the Katie card if the Crook show goes ahead. That's the aim. I wanted the trilogy with Emmett Brennan, but I don't think that's possible. I think Emmett will have another fight lined up. So listen, I just need to keep him active and keep him busy. But he had the fight in Athlone and the card fell through. So I've got to get my thinking hat on and see where I can put him.
You touched on the Croke Park card there. You and Cade, you've shared a lot of time together, and in ways you've kind of you've had a similar career path. Both medalled at 2012, both got robbed realistically in 2016, and then went on to have a good professional career. It's nearly the end of an era now. This year, both of you retiring the same year. What is it like kind of seeing that? And you and Katie, you've both been two pioneers of the professional sport and the amateur sport over the last decade, and to see that kind of story come to an end now, what's that like?
You're the first person that's made me think of this. I haven't thought of that, but you're right. You know, this is Katie's last hurrah. If the Croke Park show goes ahead, and you know, it is an end of an era. You know, the legs who were on the 2012 team, 2016 with us are either not boxing or not active. You know, they're either retired or just not active. And you know, that golden era of Irish amateur boxing in the professional ranks has kind of started to come to an end, and you know, it's nice. Listen, we have both given off a lot to the sport. Katie's achieved much more than me, and in my opinion, the best fighter the country has ever produced. So listen, it's nice that the see it's been kind of around the same time, but you know, I just hope she gets the Croke Park show and smashes it in the water and then walks away just the champion.
And what do you kind of see the timeline on retirement now? Obviously, you've a long time ahead of yourself. Do you reckon you touched on it a bit at the talk now today? Would you go into the coaching scene, or are you just happy with the management at the minute?
Nah, at the minute, nah, I wouldn't even think twice about the coaching. Now when I'm around gyms and I'm around fighters and I'm giving information, it does cross my mind now and again. But you know, I'm focused on managing fighters. You know, I have a bundle of fighters, not loads, but a bundle. I have Janaid, I have Kevin, I have Joe Joyce, the heavyweight, I have Kurt Walker and George Hughes. So those fighters are the fighters I'm looking after, sorry, and I want to help them achieve their goals before I decide to do anything else.
Mick, thank you very much for your time.